So we're gonna start in a child's pose today. So take your knees wide as your mat. Take your toes together and bring your arms extended in front of you. So I'll just demonstrate here. Arms are just extended in front of you. Your elbows can relax down onto the mat and bring your forehead down onto the mat. And let your lips be sealed and let your breath start to flow in and out through the nostrils. Using every exhale breath to imagine that you're sinking a little bit deeper into your mat. So breathe in deep through the nostrils and then exhale fully, maybe extending your exhale a little bit longer than your inhale. That's a really relaxing method to start to get your energy to ground. And take a few more breaths here, just feeling your hands plug into the mat, the tops of your feet plugging in, making yourself really wide, really grounded, taking up space with your breath. And so we're going to retain this long, deep breath throughout the practice. We're going to use it to link our different movements together. Take 2 more rounds of breath here in your child's pose. And when you're ready, keeping your hands exactly where they are, you're going to start to press up and bring your knees, each one underneath its own hip. And walk your knees back a little bit so you're at this obtuse angle. And on an exhale, you're going to bring your hips back towards your heels again, keeping your chest and your gaze forward. And then on your inhale, you're going to bring your chest forward as if you're coming into sort of a lazy upward facing dog, looking up, and then using your exhale to bring yourself back. So it's almost like a full body cat and cow, inhaling to come forward, exhaling to pull the hips back. Some people really like to undulate in this movement, kind of rounding their spine until they come forward. It's almost like a massage for the whole spine. And then exhale to bring it back. So take a few rounds like this, using it as a moment of curiosity to check in with how your body's doing today. Maybe to bring a little bit more breath into different parts of the body. And to just start to bring some suppleness, some fluidity to your spine. So take a few more rounds like this, about 2 more, exhaling to bring your hips back, inhaling to roll yourself forward, and last one, let it be your best one, really fill it up with your breath, and inhaling, coming all the way back to center. I think I need to plug you in. Shoot, okay. So take a few cats and cows now. I think I'm gonna have to move you guys over. I don't know what's happening here with my technology, so sorry. Just make sure that you can still see me. There we go. Apologies, you guys. Take a few rounds of normal cat and cow here while I just get reset up because my technology is acting up a little bit. It happens. All right, so we're back to it. We're in our cat and cow. And now you're gonna take your left leg out behind you and kind of stretch it out and pulse a little bit. Pulsing forward and back like this to kind of stretch out the back of that calf. And then lift that leg up. Keep both of your hips super square towards the floor. So don't let that left hip pop up. And really point the toe. And so both shoulders are square, both hips are square. And you're gonna start to take that toe, crossing it over towards your right. Look at your foot with your left eye. And then as if you're drawing a big rainbow, you're gonna circle that leg all the way around and look at it with your right eye. And continue like that, inhaling to arch over to the left. Look at your foot as it touches down on the ground. And then arch it over towards the other side. So you're starting to get a little bit of mobility in your hips here. A couple more rounds like this, arching your foot up and around. One more time. Last round, arching over to the left, looking at the foot with both eyes, and then arching over, crisscrossing yourself. Bring your foot back over towards the left. Plant that foot down and come all the way up to stand on your knee. I'm going to turn so you guys can all see me. So you're like this. Bring your arms out to a T. Bring your left hand down to the thigh and start to arch over towards the left. Find a lot of space in that right rib. Extend, reach with your right hand, look up. And then exhale, curl your spine, look down towards your left foot, and inhale to open up again. So it's like a little cat and cow movement. Exhale to curl in. Inhale to turn your chest towards the ceiling. One more time. Exhale, curl. And inhale, reach all the way up, bringing your arms back to that T, and bring your right hand down to the mat. You might have to scoot your back foot in a little bit and find that supported side plank position. And reach that left arm over your ear again. Maybe that left foot reaches up, and you can imagine that someone's pulling on your left wrist and pulling on your left ankle and really stretching your whole left side apart. And exhale, come back to where you came from, back to that supported side plank, using your belly strength to come back up to those star-shaped arms, and just tip over towards the other side one last time in your gate pose. And bring your hands back down, come to center. And we're gonna take this on the other side. So now it's gonna be your right leg that stretches out behind you. Give it a little pulse. Good. And then start to lift that leg up towards the sky. So we're going for that little rainbow shape again. So you're kicking out through that right leg. Both hips are squared towards the ground. And you're gonna bring your right foot over towards the left. Look at it with both of your eyes. And then inhale to draw that big rainbow and look at it on your right side. And continue like that, a few rounds of these, getting into that hip, crisscrossing the legs, moving back and forth, good. 2 more rounds here, drawing a nice big arch with the leg. Good. Now bring your leg over towards the right, plant that foot down and come up to stand on your left knee. So you can bring your hands to your hips, make sure your hips are nice and square. Start to slide your right hand down the leg, left arm floats up towards the sky. Find that big side bend on the left side, bring your gaze up towards the hand, and inhale to open your chest towards the ceiling. Exhale to round, looking down towards your right foot, toes are pointing straight ahead. Inhale, open up again. That little cat and cow movement. Exhale to round, curl, gaze at your right foot. One more round like this. Inhale, open up. And exhale to round, gazing down at that right foot. Coming back through center, bringing your arms up to a T. Left hand comes down, right foot scooches as needed. Your left knee is right underneath your hip and you're in a supported side plank. Beautiful. Start to reach that right arm over your ear to extend through that right side a little bit more, grounding through that right foot. Maybe the gaze comes up towards that right hand. Finding your breath here, deep belly breaths, helping you to extend a little further into your right side. Beautiful, and then look down towards the floor. Maybe you point those toes, maybe you reach and split your whole right side apart, and then come back as you came through your supported side plank, coming all the way up, tipping over towards the right for one more moment in that gate pose, opening that whole left side, and then come back to center and reestablish yourself in your all fours. So you're in all fours, hands underneath your wrists, knees underneath your shoulders. I'm just adjusting myself a little bit so I'm more centered on the screen. And walk your hands forward about one hand print so you're back in that obtuse angle. Tuck your toes and lift your hips all the way up and back to downward facing dog. Taking this first downward dog as a bit of an exploratory shape. Bending one knee and then the other, pedaling it out, kind of like you're taking your dog for a walk. Sending big deep breaths all the way through your body like a current, using the breath to again circulate that sense of curiosity throughout yourself. Find what information you can gather with the simple act of linking the observation of your breath with the observation of the movement in your body and sort of seeing how they work together. Sometimes our breath gets stuck in places that need a little bit more love. Start to bring some stillness into the pose. Feet are hips width distance apart. Hands are as far apart as your shoulders. Maybe take a glance up at them. Press down into your pointer fingers. And bend your knees a little bit so you can really pick your hips up and back towards the ceiling. Relaxing your neck. Your head is dropped. Many of us have a tendency to kind of hold the head up in this pose, but the head should just totally release. So maybe say no with your head. Let the head release down towards the mat. And on your inhale, you're going to lift your right leg up and back behind you, bending the right knee and letting that foot hang over towards the left. But lift through your left armpit, make sure your shoulders stay square. And then look forward between the hands and step that right foot forward alongside your right thumb. Use your right hand to help you get there if you need, and drop the back knee down. Inhale to extend your chest forward. Press down through the back pinky toe of your back foot. And then inhale to sweep your arms up towards the sky for Anjaneyasana. Hands facing towards each other, elbows extended, hips driving forward as you arch as if you're trying to hold a big beach ball behind your back. Maybe the palms start to magnetize together, maybe not. Feel that big stretch in your left hip. And exhale, bring your hands down to frame the front foot. Left hand comes over towards the left edge of your mat, maybe onto the floor a little bit. Back toes tuck, lift the back knee. Use your right hand to press your right knee away and twist your chest towards the right. Bringing your gaze past your right shoulder blade. Past your right shoulder rather. Lean back into it. And then inhale, come back to center, plant the hands, step all the way back to your downward facing dog. Beautiful. Inhale forward to your plank pose. Exhale with control, come onto tippy toes and lower all the way down onto your belly. Inhale, press your palms down. They should be framing your ribs exactly. So right where the rib cages, your palms are pressing down. Pick up one leg and put it down. Pick up the other leg and put it down. Both feet are pressing down into the mat. The toes are all pressing down so you're grounded. And inhale to lift your chest up. Your neck stays long, so don't let it crane back or anything. Just gaze a few inches in front of your mat. Knit your shoulders and your elbows together. And then imagine that your spine is growing longer. Start to lay yourself back down. Forehead touches down. Inhale, lift again. Palms press. Chest lifts. Float up. Exhale, grow your spine longer as you slowly lower yourself down. I know we're moving slowly, but it makes you articulate your spine more. It makes you use your back muscles more. One more time. Inhale, knit everything together behind you. Shoulders, elbows, shoulder blades. Keep the back of your neck long. Maybe you come up a little bit higher for this last one. And exhale, lay yourself back down. Tucking your toes. Bringing your hips back towards your heels. And drag your hands towards you. Maybe actually untuck your toes, point the toes again, and inhale to press your fingertips into the mat alongside you and lift your chest. Your seat stays down on the heels, dropping the head, arching the spine. Start to drag your hands back forward. You're coming back to your downward facing dog. Taking a big breath in here and exhaling. Lift your right leg up and back behind you, bend the knee, open the hip once more. Lifting through the right knee, lifting through the left armpit, finding that diagonal extension in your body, and then stepping that right foot forward alongside the right thumb. This time the back heel spins down about 45 degrees, and inhale to whisk your arms up towards the sky. We're coming into Warrior One. So check that each of your feet is on its own track. So feet are not, they're kind of like as if they're on train tracks. And reach through your elbows so arms are super straight. Getting hot over here with this flow. Bend into that front knee. Imagine that the knee is trying to track over the middle fingers, the middle toes rather. And then interlace your hands and catch the back of your head. Pull your elbows in as if you're doing a headstand arm and lift through your chest, curling your chest back. Bending into that front knee and pressing into that back arch of that back foot. Lift through your elbows a little bit higher. And then release your hands up towards the sky. Release that back bend. Hands come down to frame the front foot. Back heel lifts. And this time you'll bring your left hand out onto the mat a little bit and reach your right arm up towards the sky for a little twist. And then start to bring that right hand over the ear and look at the hand and start to curl your chest and find a back bend here. Back bending completely. Gazing towards that hand. And exhale, hands come down to frame the front foot, stepping it back to downward facing dog. Inhaling forward to your plank pose. Exhale, lowering to the belly with control. Point the toes, lift the chest, baby cobra. Exhale, release back to the ground, and bring your hips back as you slide your hands back with you, finding yourself in that little back bend. Hands perk up behind your feet, and lift the chest up. Let the head fall back. Drag your hands back forward. We have a whole other side to do. Press back into your downward facing dog. This time left leg lifts up and back behind you. Hang the foot. Bend the knee. Lift the left knee up. Lift through the right armpit. Find that extension. Lift up a little higher in the knee and step that foot forward alongside left thumb. Back knee comes down. Untuck the back toes. Press into the pinky toe of the back foot and inhale to lift your arms up for Anjaneyasana. Palms face towards each other. Elbows extend. Driving the hips forward. Lifting through the chest. Circulating breath through your body. Chest is super lifted as if there's a little string at the center of your heart, lifting you up towards the sky as that back toe grounds down. And then bring your right hand down to the right edge of your mat, maybe a little bit onto the wood or carpet next to you. Tuck the back toes. Left hand is on the left knee. Lift that back knee and press into your left knee as you turn your chest towards the sky. Try to turn both your eyes up towards the ceiling. Try to keep your right hip dragging back as you turn your heart, so you're twisting, spiraling in your spine. And bring both hands down to frame the front foot, downward facing dog. Inhale, forward to your plank pose. Exhale with control, lower to the belly. You can always drop your knees for this one. This time, point your toes, all toes press down into the mat, all fingertips come alongside your hips, and press your nails into the mat too. So keeping your nails pressed, you're going to start to peel your chest up. Use that same action of knitting your shoulder blades, knitting everything behind you together to help your heart to lift. Maybe the feet come together and lift too. Finding a couple rounds of breath here. Fingernails stay pressing down on the mat to help you lift a little bit higher. And exhale, bring everything down. Palms alongside your ribs. Keep your toes pointed. Drag your hips back towards your feet. Slide your hands next to you, and this time, lift everything up. Press into your hands, lift the hips, lift the head, find a little camel pose. You can always stay with the hips down on the heels if that's too much for you. You can do the variation as you please. Slide your hands forward, press it all the way back to downward facing dog. Left leg lifts up and back behind you once more. Bend the knee, hang the heel once more. Lifting through that left knee. And then step that foot forward alongside the left thumb. Spin that back heel down. Find each of your feet on their own track. Left knee is right above the left ankle, and from there, arms whisk up towards the sky. And again, work with all of that back bending practice we've been doing to really lift your chest as you bend more into that front knee. Press into the outer edge of the back foot. Tone your belly. Try to turn both hips forward like the headlights of a car. And then interlace your hands, putting the other finger on top, the unusual one. Interlace behind your head. Lift your elbows up towards the sky and curl, curl, curl. Lift your chest higher. Hips forward, that string in the center of the chest lifting you. The basket of your hands giving your head support so you can lift your heart even higher. One more breath in here. And exhale, release your arms back up towards the sky. Bring the hands down to frame the front foot. Back heel comes up off of the ground so you're on your toes. Ooh, I'm running out of breath. The right hand comes here onto the edge of the right edge of your mat. Bring your left hand to your knee again. Start to twist, start to twist, start to turn your chest towards the ceiling. Bring your left arm up towards the sky this time. And then again, bring it over the left ear. Maybe let your gaze follow the hand to help your spine curl. Curl, 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 finding that back bend. Reaching, yearning with your chest towards your left hand. Trying to keep the hips nice and square. And come out of that back bend, release. Both hands come down to frame the front foot. Stepping all the way back to your downward facing dog. Rest in dog, rest in child's pose. Maybe take a vinyasa flow if you would like to. Make it your practice. We have one more little series to do before we come down and just relax and wind everything down. So one last little burst of energy here, everyone. Lift your right leg up and back behind you. Back in dog, three-legged dog. Bend your knee, open the hip, and bring your knee to your right elbow. So knee is wide towards the side. Good. And lift it all the way back up towards the sky. Exhale, bring the knee in towards center as if you're trying to kiss your knee. And exhale, release it up towards the sky. Inhale, bring your knee across you towards your left elbow this time, so you're crisscrossing. And then kick that foot out, let it come down onto the floor. spin your back foot down and lift your left arm up towards the sky. You're in fallen triangle. Lift those hips up high. Maybe the arm comes over the ear, finding that curl, finding that arch that we've been developing all class. And then left hand comes down. Keep your right foot where it is, but turn your hips square towards the mat. And then we're gonna come into pigeon pose. So just drag that right knee all the way over towards its own side. And come down. If you have a pillow or a blanket or something, you can just place that underneath your hips if you need it. Otherwise, just make sure your knee is all the way out towards the right, like completely over towards its own side. Flex that right foot. Press into your fingertips, lift the chest, and from there start to walk yourself down for your pigeon pose. Let your forehead ground. Breathe into your hips. Take this as sort of a catching your breath, resting moment for yourself. Feel your hips kind of balancing underneath you. Imagine them become really even. Imagine that your breath is inflating you down in that low triangle of your body, as if your lungs have moved down into the space of your hips. And you can stay right here centered, or if you'd like some more, you can start to crawl your fingertips over towards the right side so your chest lines up with your thigh, and reach with your fingertips, finding a little bit of a side bend. The head can totally relax. So it's like your fingertips are over at 2 o'clock. Keep the hips nice and square. Keep the breath nice and deep. And then start to walk your fingertips over towards the left side now. All the way over towards left, pulling into that right hip, pulling it back to stay nice and square. Breathing into that right lung. And then come all the way back to center. Walk yourself up, plant your palms. And slowly, gingerly bring yourself back to downward facing dog. One more side. Lift your left leg up and back behind you, bend the knee. Inhale to bring that left knee in line with your left elbow. Engage your lower belly, and then inhale to lift that leg back up. Bring the knee towards center, try to kiss your knee, engage your belly again, and then lift that leg back up. And now crisscross, that left knee comes over towards right elbow. Kick that foot out to the side, let it plant onto the ground. Back foot spins down and right arm lifts up. You're in fallen triangle. Maybe right arm comes over the ear to make that beautiful arch, lifting up through the hips. Big breath in here, inflate on your right side. And right hand comes down. Turn your hips to both face towards the floor so you have this deep crisscross in your upper part of your thigh. And then just scooch that left leg over towards its own side, left knee. So you're coming into pigeon pose on the other side. Untuck the back toes, back foot is nice and straight, no sickling in the ankle. Lift through your chest, left knee is all the way over towards its own side. Again, take your padding underneath if you need it, and then come all the way down into your pigeon pose. And I always tell people, you can do pigeon with your forehead down on the mat, but if that feels like a strain for you, you can also take your hands underneath your chin. And just find your breath here. Feel it expanding down in your hip area. Clearing that space out. Starting to wind yourself down with breath. If you'd like to, you can start to crawl your fingertips over towards the left, towards 10 o'clock, and find that little side bend. And then over towards the right side to find your side bend on the other side. And when you're ready, you'll come back to center, pressing back to your downward facing dog. Now I'm going to face you guys here because I think it's going to be much easier for you to see what I'm doing. So you're in your dog and you're going to take your right foot and you're going to step it right. You're going to kind of cross your right foot in front of your left. So almost like, a model on a catwalk, walking with legs crisscrossed. So if you can kind of see, my right leg is across my left. I'm on my toes, tucked toes. Inhale, come forward to a plank pose. Drop the hips, lift the chest for a little tucked toe, crisscross-legged, upward-facing dog. And then exhale back to downward-facing dog. This time bringing your knees down in this shape. So your right knee is on top of your left knee, exactly aligned. Walk your feet out to their own sides a little bit, and then start to walk yourself down to sit. Some of us might need to use our blanket or our pillow to sit on. So basically, it's Gomukhasana, right knee right on top of left, feet out to their own side. If this feels totally crazy for you, just sit in Sukhasana with your legs crossed, right leg in front of the left. So Sukhasana is this, easy pose, meditation pose. But if you're with me, you're in Gomukhasa, with the right knees on top. And use your hands to kind of place your feet, kind of make them easy. I like to lift my seat and scooch it over to the left a little bit. Sit tall through your chest. And then bring your left arm up alongside your ear, bend the elbow, and bring your right hand onto your left elbow, and use that to kind of guide the hand down your back. So you feel that opening in your chest, you feel that little tricep stretch. Try to sit really tall, navel is in, lower ribs are in. Breathing deeply. If you'd like to, you may start to bow forward. You can do the same arm variation if you have legs crossed. You'll feel a great deepening into the hips, a big opening as you start to fold forward here. And then inhale, come all the way back up to sit. Release the arms. Walk your hands forward, tuck your toes, and pick the hips up and back. This time take your left foot, again, like that model on the catwalk. Take that left foot and walk it over the right leg. So now you're deeply crisscrossed. We've done that a few times in class today. Left leg in front of right. Inhale, come forward to that tucked toe, crisscrossed leg, upward facing dog. Look up. And exhale back to downward facing dog. This time bringing your knees down onto the mat, left knee on top of right. Scoot your feet over to the side so you can come down to sit. Again, option to take Sukhasana, easy cross-legged pose if this isn't jiving for you right now. It's all good. And again, I like to use my hands to kind of move my feet to their own side and pick my seat up and over to the right on this side a bit so I feel nice and centered, yeah? And this time your right arm will come up alongside the ear and bring that hand down to kind of pat between your shoulder blades. And the left hand comes onto the right elbow, kind of coaxing that hand to come further down your back, finding that little tricep stretch, framing your head. Inhale to lift through the chest. Knit your lower ribs in. Sit super tall, super regal. Find your breath in and out through the nostrils. Maybe you start to fold forward over your legs, intensifying that opening in the hips. Few more breaths here, neck releases, look down. And inhale, come all the way back up to sit. Release your arms down to the floor. And this time just unwind your legs and bring them forward in front of you. So your legs are just straight ahead in front of you. Your feet are in line with your hips, so a little bit of a separation between your feet. They're not totally together, okay? And bring your fingertips alongside your hips. Pick yourself up and just sit your seat back a little bit so you're right on the sitting bones. And bring your fingertips out to the floor so your arms are extended. Flex your feet a lot. Close your eyes for a moment. And again, observe that circulation of energy moving through your body. We did so much with back bending. We built so much prana today in class, and so it's nice to take a moment to observe, to feel, to notice the effects that those movements have on your body, to feel that sort of chemistry change that you can create in yourself, using nothing but yourself, using nothing but the amazing, powerful, magical tool of your body. So just experience that for a moment. And we're going to finish the sequence today with a little forward fold, but we're going to come into it a little bit differently. So I'm going to turn myself over to the side so you guys can really see what's going on. Some of you might want to take that blanket or pillow and kind of place it underneath your seat to give you a little bit of an angle, up to you. But all of us are going to bend our knees so much, feet are super flexed, but bend the knees so much that you can literally lay your lower belly onto your thighs. So, normally when people do forward fold, they kind of round into it a bit. We're going to try to keep that sense of the back bend. It's going to be safer on our lower back, and it's just a different way, a more restorative way of getting into this pose. So bend your knees a lot, lay your belly on the thighs, grab onto the outer edges of your feet or onto your ankles, and you're going to come into this fold like this. So the goal is to keep that contact, retain that sense of contact between belly and thigh, and don't lose it. Stop going deep into it when you get to that edge. So I like to walk my seat back, kind of waddling back like a penguin. And then at that moment where I feel like my belly is going to come off of my thighs, that's when I stop. And then I really pull my elbows in, pull my knees in towards each other as if there's a magnet between them. Extend my chest forward a little bit more so that I feel like a nice long extension of my lower spine. and then release the head and round. And so just be in this inward pose for a moment. Feel the breath flowing. Feel what it's like to breathe in this little cocoon. Feel that extension in your lower back. It's almost like you're going into your own little cave when you go into this pose. So take a few breaths to let yourself cool down, wind down. About 3 more rounds of breath here. You're welcome to stay longer if you have the time. And when you're ready, you're going to come out the way you came in. So you'll look forward and keeping your spine nice and extended, you'll stack your spine up to sit again. Extend your legs, give them a little shake. And it's up to you now. If you have time for a little shavasana, you can lie down and take your shavasana. Or if you have to get going onto your breakfast or your dinner or whatever you're doing today, depending on where you are, you can come and sit with your legs crossed. I'm going to take my little blanket now and sit on the edge of it. And bring the palms to press in the center of your chest. And close your eyes for a moment and feel the flow of your breath. And give yourself gratitude for showing up today, for showing up to your practice, for giving your body this nourishment through breath, through movement. And bring your thumbs up towards the center of your forehead, the seat of your intuition, and we finish class with a simple bow, namaste, letting the head